Hello everyone, and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. Welcome back to our Uddhava-gita course. So now we're coming to the end of this chapter where Krishna has been describing in this chapter the Vanaprastha and the sannyas stage of life. And of course in the previous chapter he was talking about the other varnas and ashramas. So these two chapters were dedicated to the varna ashram, the varnashrama system, correcting all these misconceptions about it. So it's very important if you want to go back and watch all these classes, and of course all the other more than 100 classes in this course. All you have to do is become a member of this channel, and the instructions are here in the description of the video. Once you become a member, check out Uddhava-gita.com for the complete course. Now, so Krishna is describing now he's going to finish the topic of the renounced order. Now he's talking about generally seeking spiritual life. So we're going to start with two verses on the importance of the spiritual master, when to seek the spiritual master, and for how long to study with the spiritual master. And then Krishna is going to go on to more basic ideas of what the sannyas order of life is, or the main aspect of it, and then the main aspect of the grihasta order of life, the householder, the married stage of life. So here we are. We're in the 11th canto, 18th chapter, verse 38. Krishna says, one who is detached from sense gratification, knowing its result to be miserable, and who desires spiritual perfection, but who has not seriously analyzed the process for obtaining me, should approach a bona fide and learned spiritual master. So Krishna gives here a nice little list. So let's go to the list. First thing, first item on the list, tough one. That's why nobody cares about this. That's why so few people are watching this video on this channel. First item is one who is detached from sense gratification. Boom. Right there, Krishna's eliminated pretty much 99.999% of humanity. So that's a killer little filter there. So one who is detached from sense gratification. Why does someone get a little detached from sense gratification? Because knowing its result to be miserable. That's why. Because you've figured it out. How do you figure this out? You have samsaras, you have subliminal registers from previous lifetimes. You accumulate those. This is a new body for you. But within you is the subtle body made of mind, intelligence, and the false ego, the identification of who you think you are. So these have existed for a long time. When you reincarnate from one body to another, the soul is trapped within the subtle body. We call this the subtle body, made of these three subtle elements of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So that subtle body has been accumulating these experiences, and these registers, we call them samsaras. So as you accumulate, you've been going around, you've done this over and over again. To use words from Prahlada Maharaj, he says, chewing the chewed. So now you get some food and you chew it and it's very nice, some nice, good, nice, tasty food. It's flavorful and it's chewing, it's nice. Oh, this is so nice. Now you take a bite of a juicy apple, it's wonderful. Your mouth is full of nice flavors. But then if you just keep chewing it, after a while, there's nothing left. You're just chewing the chewed. It's just like, after a while, you have to spit it out or swallow it. You just can't keep, it's like there's nothing there anymore. I remember when I was a child, because I think it's so disgusting now, but the thing, when I was like, you did like bubble gum. If you ever chewed bubble gum as a child, and it's like, it starts really amazing. And then it's like, ugh. And then there's nothing there. It's just, you're just chewing the chew. There's nothing left. There's no flavor. So as you go around life after life, and you've done all these things, and you've been everything, you've been poor and rich and powerful and weak and oppressed and the oppressor, and you've done everything. And you've been all the animals, you've done demigod, you've done everything. And it's like, the result is always miserable. That's the truth. And this sounds depressing. I don't mean to be depressing, but it's not depressing when you think there is a real viable option, which is to take your spiritual life. So it's not depressing because we're just saying, no, that's just the wrong thing. You're just doing the wrong thing. Somebody's spending all day just watching like crummy TV. It's like just, and you tell them, look, it's all just rubbish. You're not being depressed. You're just saying, look, that's all rubbish. Go do something else. Go live your life. Go out, go get a hobby, paint, do sports, or walk in nature. So you're not being depressed. You're just telling them, look, just watching TV is very depressing. That's what I'm saying. So material life, it's just miserable. In the end, it's miserable. In the end, it's like it's frustration, it's old age, disease, and death. That's what it is. And then you die, and then you have to start again. And then you do the same little things again, and the same little struggles and dramas, and then old age, disease, and death. And then you start again. It's very boring. So you want to avoid all that. So when you figure that out, you start becoming detached from sense gratification. That's the first qualification. Detached from sense gratification because you kind of figured out that there's no solution to this. It's not the place to find the solution. You were looking for the solution in the wrong place. So then 2, who desires spiritual perfection. So then you're like, okay, that's not working. Spiritual perfection, that's going to work. When I can just be pure bliss, I can attain my pure, blissful, original, undying, disease-free, no birth, no death, no old age, eternal spiritual self. To love and serve with the most attractive Krishna, the infinitely attractive Lord. Just perfection. So then I want spiritual perfection. So detached from sense gratification, desire spiritual perfection. So you want it, you figured out that that's a good thing. But 3, you have not seriously analyzed the process for obtaining me. You just don't, where's the knowledge? Well, how do I get it? Somebody explain it to me. It's complicated. Right? If you want to learn anything, you need a teacher. Somebody has to prepare a course, give you information, systemize it for you. You can't just all of a sudden, no, I want to play tennis. It's like, somebody has to teach it to you. You want to ice skate, you want to play tennis, you want to learn French. Somebody has to give you a course. Somebody has to, help you along. And same thing with spiritual life. Same thing with getting this, knowing what the process for obtaining Krishna is. The process for obtaining me, Krishna says. So that's the path. This is, in my case, the 3T path. So there's a path. Look, I'm going to teach you the path. I'm going to teach you what to do, what's important, what's not important, what to prioritize. You have to know what you're seeking, the pitfalls in the path, what's going to happen, how it works. You need a guru. So you need a guru to help you out, guide you, and then show you the path, what to do, the main practices, explain the books. So that's what a guru does. So then you should approach a bona fide and learned spiritual master. Purport. In the previous verses, Lord Krishna described the duty of one who has developed perfect knowledge. Now Lord Krishna discusses the situation of one who, desiring self-realization, has become detached from material life but lacks perfect knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Such a detached person desiring self-realization must approach the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master in Krishna consciousness, and then he will quickly come to the standard of perfect understanding. One who is seriously inclined towards spiritual perfection should not hesitate to adopt the regular discipline necessary for achieving the highest perfection in life. So that's the thing. That's the catch. Is it easy? Well, you have to adopt the regular discipline. necessary for achieving the highest perfection of life, because this is the highest perfection of life we're seeking. This goes way beyond all these other perfections you have achieved over and over again in this life, in previous lives, in life after life. These other perfections of being, the king of the hill, the being on the top of your thing, of having some money, or having, a nice family, all these other perfections people achieve, having your own home, your own car, your job, your career, your business, all these things people think they're like perfections. And they're hard to achieve. But this is the highest perfection. Spiritual life is the highest perfection, because then it's the perfection from which you need no other perfections ever again. This is the definitive one, because it's based on what's unchanging and eternal. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita. Don't go praying to demigods, because demigods, they are temporary and limited. So therefore, they can only give you temporary and limited blessings. In material life, that's all you can get. A temporary and limited blessing. So somebody can give you a nice job and you get money and prestige, but that is temporary and limited. After a while, the money's going to go, the prestige is going to go. You get a house, it's temporary and limited. It's just one house, it's not 10 houses, it's just, it's going to last this long, it's going to fall apart after a while, there's all these taxes to pay on it, so it's limited and temporary. So you want something that's unlimited and eternal. Okay, verse 39. So, how long should you stay with the spiritual master? Until a devotee has clearly realized spiritual knowledge, he should continue with great faith and respect and without envy to render personal service to the Guru, who is non-different from me. So of course in the old days, they didn't have the internet, and they didn't even have printed books. So the only way to learn was actually physically being, you'd go there and hang out with the Guru. It was the only way. There was no other way. Absolutely no other way. It's like, if you want to, how do I get knowledge from this person who has knowledge? The only means of transferring knowledge from one person to another was through physical contact, conversation. You'd have to hear the Guru speak. That was the only way. You'd have to go there, okay, and he'd maybe show you how to do deity worship or something, but basically you'd have to hear. That's all you have to do, just hear. But now, of course, now we have all these amazing means. We are way into the information era. So now we have these amazing means to transfer information. So now it's very easy. Now you can watch a video. Now you can watch a course online. You can watch it on your phone, on your tablet, on whatever device you have. And you can watch the whole course and they explain, and then people write to me. Every day I'm answering questions from all over the world, from India, from the US, from the UK, Europe, Brazil. Every day, people writing to me, Greece, all over the world, people writing to me. Every day I'm answering questions. They don't have to come to me, walk all the way. It'd be really hard for some of them. Okay, if I have people in India, it'd be hard. Somebody in India to walk all the way over. I'm in the UK, all the way over to the UK. Oh, I have a question. It's like, oh, it took you 5 months it would take them, impossible. But now, people just write, and I answer them. So people, and then I give them the classes. They have all these nice courses. Every week you can have this beautiful class on Uddhava-gita, and then there's another video here, and there's thousands of them. They're all available simultaneously. So at every moment, hundreds of people are hearing from me. Right now, hundreds of other people are hearing from me, from this video, from that video, and this, because I do stuff in Portuguese as well. That's where my bigger following is, in Portuguese. So all these people are watching all these other videos I've done, and shorts, and this, and Instagram, and they're doing the courses, and they're reading my book. It's all happening right now. All these people are accessing it simultaneously. It's like a mystic power. It didn't exist before. A mystic power to be able to be so many places at the same time and be there in front of these people, giving them knowledge, answering questions. So that's what you stay there. So now also I don't get the, no, I don't need anybody rendering me personal service, because now, you don't have to personally be. So you just, the service you can render is just you become a member of the channel. You just click the like button. That's all the service that's required these days. Not much. And if you really want to help, you can share. Tell other people about it. That's all the service I request. So, but then before you'd have to go there, and so you'd just, you'd be humbly serving the guru. Normally these gurus would be married. They wouldn't be renounced gurus. There wouldn't be sannyas gurus. Sannyas gurus would not have a base. They would have no base, right? That's what renounced. They would be walking around, sleeping under trees. They'd be walking around. So the only time you'd get instruction from a renounced guru was when they would come beg for food. And at that moment, you could take advantage of the situation. Say, oh, by the way, as you're getting some rice, can you tell me a little bit about this thing or that? And then they would go off. So in exchange for the food, maybe you could get some information. But basically, the gurus were householders. They would have their ashram. Ashram was their house, was the house of the guru. And so the guru would be there with his wife, etc. And people would come around and they would hang out. And because they're hanging out, they would have to do some service. I mean, somebody comes to your house and they're just gonna, put their feet up on the couch. No, it's like, if you're gonna be here, you have to do stuff. So they would have to get firewood, go out and beg for food, and, just do stuff. Like we saw in the brahmachari section. Here, people would beg for food and bring it back to the guru. We see leelas of Krishna being a disciple at his guru's house, and he would get firewood, stuff like that. So you would render personal service like that, stuff like that. That's how it would work in the past. So you stay there until you get it. Okay, I understand now. Okay, when you think, okay, now, of course, because you couldn't spend your rest of your life in the guru's house. It wouldn't be very nice for the guru, wouldn't be very nice for you. You can't just stay there forever. So you'd go there, learn, and then you have to go off. These days, again, because of things have changed so much with the information era, now people can hang out, stay close to the guru for decades. I have students that have been with me for decades. Because it's not a problem. It's not a problem for them. It's not a problem for me, so they can still write to me. What happens is, though, it's natural that this kind of happens with everyone. It happened with me, with my guru. It happened with my guru, with his. It's just a natural process where in the beginning, you need a lot because you're learning, okay, getting it, and then you're practicing, and then you're overcoming those initial obstacles. But then after a while, and it varies for everyone, but after a while, and it's not like a huge amount of time, it's like a year or two, you're kind of okay, I got it. It's not that I'm I got it, I understand now. You get it. And you get it enough so that your questions are answered. You've kind of understood your questions. Everything's, sure, you have a lot of work to do. Okay, this is, I'm going to spend the rest of my life working on these things and bringing my mind. But okay, so there's work to do for the rest of your life. But you don't need the guru's help so much. It's normal. It's okay, I kind of got it. It's nice every once in a while. But you kind of get it. And also you have all these resources which people didn't have before, right? People can just get the whole Bhagavad Purana. Because I mean, who would have a copy of the Bhagavad Purana? It's like, you know, nobody would have it. Even the copy of the Bhagavad Gita, it'd be like, what, having your own copy of the Bhagavad Gita was like unheard of. It's impossible almost. It's such a big deal. But of course, now we have all these things. And we can have them in our pocket. So we have lots of material to absorb, so lots of teaching. We keep getting the teachings from the Bhagavad Purana, from the Bhagavad Gita. I'm still getting, you know, like every time I'm learning, you have access to all this knowledge, so you keep getting more and more knowledge from the text. And so you don't need so much like, you know, the guru doesn't have to keep like holding your hand through the whole process. You kind of like, you get it. And you move on, you're still there, and of course the guru. And then you become a guru. That's how it works, you know, my guru, and I'm teaching, and I have students. That's how it works. And I have students who have students. And that's how it works. It's called the parampara, the line of disciplic succession. When the guru teaches, and then the good disciple learns so well and becomes enthusiastic to share it with others, so then they become guru, and that's how it goes. All right. Purport. As stated by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Guru Vashtaka prayer, Yasya prasadat Bhagavat prasadho. One receives the mercy of the Supreme Lord through the mercy of the bona fide spiritual master. A devotee who has been blessed by his Guru with spiritual knowledge becomes qualified to directly engage in the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada, which is the Guru of my Guru who wrote this text, always emphasized that the service of the spiritual master in separation, pushing on the mission of the guru, is the highest form of devotional service. So the best way to serve your guru is to spread the teachings your guru dedicated his or her life to teach. That's the best thing you can do. That's why the best thing anybody can do for me is to share. These days we call it share. You know, just share the video, share the course, invite other people, or if you want, teach it yourself in your own way. Make your own videos, make your own courses. But that's the best thing you can do. That's all the guru most wants to see. The word parichare in this verse indicates waiting upon one's master by rendering personal service. In other words, one who has not clearly realized the teachings of his spiritual master should remain very close to the guru to avoid falling down into illusion. But one who has acquired realized knowledge by the mercy of his spiritual master may expand the spiritual master's mission by traveling around the world to preach Krishna consciousness. Of course, this is also written back in the days before this information technology. So, you know, you would have to actually travel. They would actually have to go traveling to distribute this knowledge. But these days, you can do it from anywhere. Okay, verses 40 and 41. One who has not controlled the 6 forms of illusion, lust, anger, greed, excitement, false pride, and intoxication, whose intelligence, the leader of the senses, is extremely attached to material things, who is bereft of knowledge and detachment, who adopts the sannyas order of life to make a living, who denies the worshipful demigods, his own self, and the Supreme Lord within himself, thus ruining all dharmic principles, and who is still infected by material contamination, is deviated and lost both in this life and the next. So these 2 verses are like, okay, I was talking about all the nice things. No, Krishna says, look, but if you're in this, if this has happened to you, you're lost in this life and the next, because this life it's a mess, and because you're a mess in this life, your consciousness is confused. That means the next life is not going to be very good. A confused human life is a complete disaster. It's the worst thing that can happen to a soul, is to be a confused human. Better to be a confused cat, dog, bird, whatever, be a demigod. You can be anything in the universe. The worst thing you can be is a confused human. Because in human life, you accumulate masses of karma. It's a life called a life of karmic fruitive activities. So if you plant the wrong seeds, if you act in a bad way with bad consciousness, you're going to amass just a humongous complication of karma. Just endless, troublesome karma. It will last millions of years. In one human life, you can amass millions of years of troublesome lives. Just like your next lives are going to be just trouble, hardship, just bad. So you don't want to be a confused human. You have to take your human life very seriously. It's a very special opportunity, but because it's so special and powerful, you can make a giant mess of it as well. Very dangerous. So we don't want to fall into these traps. So the things are, who is controlled by the 6 forms of illusion. Do not be controlled by lust, anger, greed, excitement, false pride, and intoxication. That will make your life hellish. This life, other people around you, and of course, your future lives. Hellish. All these things will accumulate masses of horrible karma. Whose intelligence, which is the leader of the senses, is extremely attached to material things. Very bad. If you're attached to material things, you can't go beyond just like surface matter, materialist, you're a mundane, materialist person. Terrible. Your intelligence is corrupted, you're not thinking straight. You have to think in terms of dharma, purpose, what's right, doing the correct thing. You have to think in terms of soul, of God. But if you're just in the matter, material platform, then goodness doesn't come in, soul doesn't come in, God doesn't come in, what's right or wrong doesn't come in. Nothing is just surface. Very dangerous, extremely dangerous. If you're bereft of knowledge and detachment, so you have no spiritual, you just don't understand things, you're ignorant. And bereft of detachment, so you're very greedy, attached to everything. You think all material things are important and you're just attached to this and you do anything, don't do anything to get that position, to get that thing. Very dangerous. People commit all sorts of horrible sins when they do that. Or a person who adopts the sannyas order of life to make money, so maybe you're a fake guru. Lots of them around. Lots of false gurus, even today, and they amass so much money. You see on TV all these televangelists, making millions of dollars. It's just doing it. They're doing it to make a living. So many people make a living. Krishna, in all traditions, guru, Indian guru, everywhere, Brazil, US, Europe, Africa, everywhere in the world, you have these horrible people making a living of spiritual life, of religious life. Abusing people, getting money from them, donations, support, sex, exploration, all these things, power, getting elected, getting political power. All these things are, making a theocracy, just using religion, using spirituality for mundane goals. Very bad, very sinful, very bad. So this is a list of horrible things you can do with your life. A person who denies the worshipful demigods, and his own self and the Supreme Lord within himself. So these are the 3 levels. If you're just a good person, but you're not ready for spiritual life, you're not ready for yoga, so in Sattva Guna, Krishna says you should worship the demigods. So Krishna says, you're a materialist, but you're a nice materialist. You're a dharmic, correct, nice materialist. You're not sinful. You're a pious materialist. Then you should worship the demigods. That's what Krishna says. If you're in Sattva Guna, you worship the demigods. So you give them their due respect. You do rituals for Lord Indra and for Surya and for this and that and the other thing. Now, if you're practicing yoga, if you become a spiritualist, if you're in the path of self-realization, you're a yogi now, you no longer do those things. Krishna says, no, we don't do those things. Because now you're worshiping God. And God is the source of all the demigods, so if you worship God, then the demigods are automatically satisfied because they worship God. And they come from God, and they know that all their power comes from God. Sometimes they forget, but then Krishna reminds them. So then you go beyond demigod worship. So then you don't deny yourself or the Lord. Then you're focused on yourself and the Lord. But if you deny all these three things, then you're just infected by material contamination. It's a horrible deviation. If you reject demigods, your own self, and then God, because you can be a yogi that still hasn't understood God. So you have that kind of the impersonal, kind of the Sankhya path. You're just like focusing on yourself. So you haven't understood God yet. You haven't really developed bhakti. But that's still okay. So demigod, a step higher, you're an impersonalist. At least you're focused on yourself. Then a step higher, you're focused on the Lord. But if you deny all three, demigod, self, and God, then you're a complete idiot. You're completely foolish. You're just lost. You're contaminated by material life, and you're deviated. And so you're lost both in this life and the next. Very nice verse, very powerful verse. We did get a bit carried away with these three verses, so I didn't get around to what I told you I was going to talk about, the importance of the main activities of the renounced order and of the Grihastha. We will do that in the next class if Krishna allows us. But let me just read the purport to this verse, these two verses. Lord Krishna here condemns bogus personalities who adopt the sannyas order of life for sense gratification while still maintaining all of the symptoms of gross illusion. A false show of sannyas is never accepted by intelligent followers of Vedic principles. So-called sannyasis who ruin all Vedic religious principles sometimes become famous among foolish persons, but they are simply cheating themselves and their followers. These charlatan sannyasis are never actually engaged in the loving devotional service of Lord Krishna. So again, there's so many of these horrible, false gurus, corrupted gurus, so much nonsense in this world, in all religions, in all countries. You just have to go beyond all that and seek true knowledge. And the way to do that is go to the source material. That's why my work, completely focused. Bhagavad-gita, Bhagavad Purana, Yoga Sutras, and all I'm doing is explaining these things, showing you, helping you get to these things, connecting you to the source. That's what a guru does. An authentic guru wants you to connect to the source. He doesn't want to, no, stay with me, give me money, hang around me, give me your body and your wealth. No. That you can see that gurus, when it's like, oh no, just worship me, and it's just pictures of the guru. That's a big telltale sign. As soon as people are worshiping the guru more than God, then you can just turn your back and run, because there's something wrong there. So you have to focus on the source, Krishna. And of course, we want to study Bhagavad Purana, we want to study Bhagavad-gita, we want to study Yoga Sutras, the source material. Then the gurus just help you understand the source material, giving you access to it, and then you're good to go. All right, so that was it. That's it for today. And have your rest of your day with lots of peace and lots of love. Hare Krishna.